please welcome my guest for this evening, Kuromiya Lucien.
Blah, ba, ba, ba.
Wow.
Wait, can you? Yes, you can hear me, Coggers. Let's go.
Yeah,
Good
Coggers.
evening, everybody. Yeah. Da, da, da. Welcome to Vtuber Talk. My name is Lulu. I'm the host.
Oh yes, okay, yep. Of
yeah,
course, I'm the guest. Hi, I'm Jay. I'm the guest.
I'm taking over.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jay. Jay, do you like Sheepium?
Absolutely. Yep. Subscribe every day
Heck
for
yeah.
Sheepium, and don't forget to capitalize.
Yeah, capitalize. Good night, everybody.
Ooh,
Ba, ba, ba.
great
Come
show.
with pride.
Bye. Oh dear. Lulu, welcome on in. So good to have you here. I am guessing that
Yeah.
the vast majority of people in the chat already know who you are, but for anyone who might be tuning in or who might be watching later on YouTube, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lulu. I'm the capitalist gamer sheep over here on Twitch. I love money. Did I say money? Oh, I love money. I'm the Mr. Krabs of the VTuber. How are you guys doing tonight? I normally stream at 5 p.m. GMT. That's noon, 1 p.m. EST. I don't know how American time zones work. If you're a Borderlander, later. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, nobody knows time zones.
Oh, that's okay.
Honestly, like the bane of streamers everywhere, just coordinating time zones. And like for me, that, you know, I've been fortunate enough to have guests all over the world, Australia, Europe, US, and it's, you know, it's very top of mind for me nowadays because I have to sort of work with that. It's a different time zone every week, basically.
Oh,
But
no.
yeah, no, it doesn't get easier. Time zones are just super annoying. I know why we have to have them because it sort of makes sense, but doesn't mean they're not annoying.
Yeah, they're annoying. I don't think they make sense. Abolish time zones 2022.
Yeah. At least we're starting to get rid of daylight savings because that was really annoying. That just made it
Oh,
worse.
finally! It's about time. I hate those. Disgusting. All my homies hate summertime.
Yeah. But welcome on in. Like I was saying earlier, you've actually had a pretty full day, Lulu. That you were streaming earlier, celebrating 16,000 people in the hive mind.
Yeah. Birthing 16,000 people. That was quite the job. Holy sheep.
And you were marbling around, you doing some Elden Ring, had a very, very fun day, it seemed. That I was lurking around in the chat, and yes, and that's where a bunch of the early follows came from. Again, thank you all to anyone who followed.
Oh.
And yes, KK Josh Joker, you did hear Hive Mind.
Yes, this is a hive mind. Get in the hive mind, and then get in the microwave.
Well, wait, could we at least, you know, like getting the nice, like, well, is it a roomy microwave? Because, you know, microwaves are very small, and there's 16,000 of us. I don't know if we can all fit.
You gotta make some space. Just smush together a little bit.
Yep,
Put some water in there. Put some oil in there.
Yep, we're gonna get cozy in the microwave.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyways, yes, indeed. I'm so happy to have you on, Lulu. I'm actually trying to think off the top of my head when or how I first got introduced to your content, and sadly, I'm blanking on it. I can't figure it out. My best guess is that somebody had to have rated me in. That's how I find a good portion of my guests nowadays, that a past guest raids me into somebody else, and I'm like, ooh, they're really good. I'd love to talk with them sometime, and just sort of, you know, start following, eventually reach out. But anyways, like I was mentioning, playing a fair bit of Elden Ring. That's sort of become one of your core games, I feel, over the past several months. What is it about Elden Ring that really just got you?
I like my backseaters. I don't think it would work without my backseaters because they know what they're doing. I'm just kind of following along. But I'm starting to really like the challenge of a difficult game, TM. I used to be a very calm streamer. I used to be very, very quiet and very, very sweet. And now I'm swearing and I have to actively bleep myself every single stream. Because it really makes you rage. If you've never felt rage or anger before, try Elden Ring. It's a great cure. You too will feel carnal anger.
Yes, I forget, you had a great clip the other day about magical snails, and that someone had made the snails magic, and
yeah.
you all
It's not whimsical. It's not fun.
Yes, very good one. Like, if you want top tier clip game, be sure to follow Lulu on Twitter. That she has some wonderful, wonderful
Yay.
clips of, you know, gameplay, but also the blah that we had at the top of the show there. That sort of a running series of hers that she has. That memory serves, you actually had a new installment in the blah series. The person who sent you this. Where did the idea for that one come? Actually, that I haven't seen anyone do, you know, that particular type of sort of tweet series. And you know, some people have their own different things, but that was a new one. Was that sort of a one-off that did really well, and you decided to just run with it, or did you approach it with the idea of, okay, I want to sort of start a mini Twitter post series?
Oh, it originated over on my TikTok. I cover, like, I Lulufy dub some of the, like, audios that other people make to kind of make my own version of it. I was already doing the mwah or pa 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 starting ones for a while, and then I covered one that was, I don't know, the person that sent you this, and that took off. I think that got like 10,000 views or something in a single day, and I went, you know what? Yeah, I'll roll with that. If there's money in it, I'll roll with it. And I think I've made over 100 of them so far.
Oh my goodness, I didn't realize it was that many.
I post like 7, I think I did the math yesterday, like 7 short vertical videos a day. I have no idea where they come from.
Like, I don't use TikTok very much. That it's not even that I'm like boomer. Oh, I don't like TikTok. Don't want to use it. It's just I'm following so much other stuff that you know, I haven't really made time to consume TikTok content. But like I might need to. Because like what I do see of TikTok, I really do like. So maybe I do need to make a more conscious effort of getting that into my rotation of the places that I check.
I used to never understand it because I'm also really old. I'm 666 years old. I never learned how to read. I'm a boomer sheep. It's really hard for me to catch on to these like the young people trends sometimes. But getting into TikTok was actually really easy because they're as I said, their toilet format. They take you like one visit to the bathroom and you can scroll to like 6, 7 of them. And then that's enough. That's enough for the day usually.
Yeah, they definitely epitomize that micro content concept. And the few times that I do visit TikTok, I very much sort of find myself just falling into that, and like you blink and oops, it's been 10, 15 minutes and I've watched like 25 of these things.
Yeah, it's really fast, but other websites have taken it on as well. Like Instagram has it now, YouTube has it now. That was weird. Yeah,
YouTube's like trying to get it. Hi, YouTube, by the way. You know, like, comment, subscribe, click that bell, and all that jazz.
Subscribe. Do it. Do it for the capitalism.
Do it for the capitalism. Yeah. Yeah. So in Elden Ring, do you have any favorite fights or bosses that you've taken on were there any ones that were just really satisfying for you?
I like all of I know they're not bosses. They're kind of like mini bosses per area. There are these what I call like I call them the IKEA to be. They're these older like bigger trees. I think they're like Earth Tree avatars, I think is what they're called. The first few ones are really difficult and they keep adding like sometimes they multiply, sometimes they have other special abilities per area, but they're really fun to fight. I did one of those today, by the way, but they're great. They're very satisfying. Mini boss time. It's the NPCs, the characters, especially the miladies, that are really, really cute in Elden Ring. I wish there were more collectible maidens, like on body pillows or as figurine. Elden Ring, why are you not capitalizing on me? Come on, sell me a body pillow. What are you afraid of? Profit?
Now that you mention it, I really haven't seen much Elden Ring merch. For how big it's been, you know, easily one of the biggest games of the year that come early next year for award season. I expect it to be up for most awards, especially like Game of the Year nominee, at least, if not winning. But, you know, I think I've seen a couple of figures of, like, you know, the bosses, like these really pretty statues, but you're right, they don't really have the waifus. They aren't doing anything in terms of like mouse pads, body pillows, plushies. Like, I want, like, give me a plushie of one of these bosses. Just make it, you know, really cute, really chibi, really fluffy. Make it a marketable plushie.
A marketable plushie.
Come on, folks. I I'm
FromSoft, come on,
FromSoft.
capitalize harder. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, FromSoft. Hire us. Boom. Marketing department, merchandising department, right here.
Where's my horse? Where's my horse action figures? Give me the horse.
Oh wait, no, horse plushie. That's what the plushie
Yeah,
is.
horse plushie would be cute.
Memory serves, actually, you have your own plushie form.
Not yet.
Okay,
Not
maybe I'm just
quite
thinking
yet.
of the sheep form then.
We're getting plushies made. Currently it's a Sasquatch over on my channel. Sent me money to 123 Internet Street. We're currently fundraising for a sample. I finally, after like half a year or so of chat asking me, we finally found a supplier that makes like acrylic stands and plushies. So I'm finally delivering. I am caving.
Very exciting. No, but you do have a small fluffy sheep model, I mean.
Oh yeah. I do have Muta. I have a special. Do you want me to turn into my sheep model?
Yeah, sure. Let's give the folks, this is their free sample, but they're gonna have to go to your
free
stream
sample
to.
time. Okay, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Blah! Oh! Oh, every single time. You gotta know that plushie like sheepy form is kaiju sized. I'm even larger, not just 6'6", 69 foot tall.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. This is Mutan. This is the sheepy form.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of Mutan emotes in chat as well. Yeah, and Mutan bongos. There we go.
Bunga, bunga, bunga.
So is the plushie you're looking into making of Mutan?
Yeah, of this form of the model.
Yeah. And speaking of models, you have a new one coming out that hasn't debuted yet. It's a couple of weeks out. You've posted the reference sheet image on your Twitter, so folks can see that it's not a huge overhaul. It's not like you're really changing your core concept or color scheme, but it's a bit more stylized. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it because it's a different style than what you currently have, but it is undeniably you. It's still very much the Lulu that we know and love.
Yeah, she's a bit more jiggly. If you want to see some rigging preview, they're over on my Twitter. If you wanna, there's a link in chat. I see, but you can see the eye. The eye jiggle physics. It sounds so wrong when you say it, but there's eye jiggle physics already up on Twitter by the rigger. I'm really excited because this is the first time I'm getting a model that is sort of 2.5D. So you know that 2D models have kind of a limit on the range, like how far to the side they can look.
Yeah.
This time we're getting like 90-degree angles on the face, so I can turn all the way to the side.
It's really exciting just to, for the VTuber community in general, that as technology progresses, as riggers get more experience, as artists get more experience, that we're sort of seeing these incremental changes in growth. And, sometimes people will have a huge model overhaul, but it, like I said, in your case, that it's more of a incremental one where it's just, Lulu plus, and that you'll have, that bit, the more range, a little bit of jiggliness, and that, it's really cool for me as someone who's just, a fan of VTubers, not even a VTuber myself, seeing that type of growth and change, because it's really everyone involved. It's not just that, streamers are getting better. It's not just that VTubers are becoming more adept and more creative with their content, but that the artists, the riggers, everyone is really growing together.
And there's so many talented artists out there. I don't think I have enough funds to even begin to get enough models in, because I want to commission everyone who has wonderful art styles in the community, and sometimes waiting lists are really, really long. So I inquired for a new 3D model to come out this winter, like 4 months ago, and I'm only now getting to the top of payment part of the waiting list. There's so many.
Yeah, no, artists are in high demand. That good on you for having the forethought to reach out that early, knowing that, yes, it can take a long time. That I know folks that, start the process and that regrettably sometimes artists sort of fall through and that they have to get back to square one. And obviously that's never what you want to see. But even when things do go smoothly, that you need to really allow that type of time and planning. So glad you're on top of it.
Yeah, it's terrifying sometimes. For the 3.0 for the model that's releasing in August next month, the one that's being rigged now, I in February commissioned someone else to do a 3.0 design, and I was supposed to get everything delivered in May, and it just never happened. I just got ghosted.
Oh no!
Ghosted, and I never received
No.
anything. And I was already getting merch and stuff made, so I was like really hard in the red for it.
Oh,
That was not cool.
that's not good. That's not good. Also, I missed a couple of follows: Usagi, Naomi, Vladimir, Kagamin, and Waifu Strangler. Oh dear, that's not a peaceful name.
Waifu, yeah.
Yes, thank you all for the follows. So, how many times now have you beaten Elden Ring? That is this a single?
Oh no, this is my first one. This is my first
Okay.
one. I'm like 111 played hours in.
All right, so you're just taking your time with it then.
Yeah, I just want to do everything because it's such a big game. I didn't expect it because I've played Dark Souls 3 before, and I made it like a quarter in and then had to quit because I got so frustrated. But it's
Mm,
definitely not as large as Elden Ring is.
yeah, for sure. I've not actually played any Souls-like games. It's just I think I
Oh.
tried it once a couple of years ago and just it was not a genre for me. I enjoy watching it, just not one I really enjoy playing personally. But even as a viewer, I can tell just how much larger Elden Ring is than
Yeah.
pretty much anything else in the genre, and that I'm not actually surprised to hear that with as much time as you put in, that you're still on your first playthrough. Plus, anytime that you're playing on stream, you're going to take things a little bit slower because obviously you're multitasking, talking with chat, and that it's already a challenging enough game, and now you're stacking on top, splitting your attention.
And I can't multitask. Like, I literally can't. I have to, like, pause when I'm talking or playing a game to take a sip of water because I'm so slow.
Yeah, no, hey, all I do is host a talk show, and I do my best at that, but I'm not brave enough to do any type of game.
Oh.
But you said you've also played several Souls games. Do you have
I
any
played Dark
favorites?
Souls 3. I haven't touched any of the other ones yet, sadly.
Mm,
Not yet, not yet. I think after Elden Ring, maybe I'll go on a run and I'll play all of them. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure because they're so much more difficult.
yeah. And you said that you actually didn't like Dark Souls 3 as much, but what was different about Elden Ring in that case that it just clicked for you?
Oh, you have other things to do. Like, I come from a corner of playing mostly horror games and like Minecraft. So in Minecraft, there is this point where like, okay, I can't progress, but I can go and make more armor. I can do something else while I'm streaming, at least, because I don't like grind work on stream. I don't do that in Elden Ring either. I normally level on my off days. Like, I log on in the early morning hours, 2 p.m. And I level a little bit so we have higher levels for the stream in case we get stuck somewhere. But if you really get stuck somewhere and you have nothing else to do, you can still go out and explore. So your stream doesn't fall flat and you don't have to sit there like, oh, so basically, let me do the same thing 15 times and make no
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah, grinding in video games doesn't matter if it's Pokemon or if it's Elden Ring. Not always the best for content. That you can sort of make it a just chatting plus stream in that case. But if folks are tuning in hoping to see gameplay, no, that is not riveting gameplay.
I don't want to bore anyone by just sitting there and like mining for 12 hours or something.
No. It has been a while. I'm trying to think the last time I saw you streaming Minecraft. Maybe I'm just
That was
tuning
like
in the
at
wrong one.
least a month ago because a new version released, like 1.19 came out fairly recently.
Yeah, that's right.
And I need to wait every single time for shader packs to update because I'm colorblind. And it has happened to me way too many times when I don't have particles or movement on that I try to jump into water, and because it's the same color to me, I jump into grass and die. So, no.
Oh, no. Actually, so I wasn't sure exactly when in the show we were going to do this, but since you bring it up now, let's go over and talk about it now. That, as you mentioned, you are colorblind, and actually you have some really cool glasses that you use on the stream, but you also sent me, I'm going to move us over right now. You sent me some images that show different perspectives, and actually a couple of them are Minecraft. So this first one here is Minecraft. That this is the version of what you see. If I've marked all these files correctly. So you have that, and then for comparison, this is what you have as the quote-unquote normal one. Sorry, folks, watching that tried to figure out the best way to display these side by side, have a little bit of overlap here, but you see that bottom one there where, you know, the books, you have the reds and blues, but then the top one, at least as far as my eyes, that it appears a little bit pink, actually, as opposed to what would be sort of more an orange gold-ish appearance. And I'm not going to butcher the explanation here, so actually, Lulu, if you could sort of explain the differences here and the sort of hows and whys of everything.
Yeah, of course. I'll try my best. I'm not the most scientifically English gifted person, but I'm gonna try my best. Okay. In the top one, you see the screenshot the way that I would normally see it. I have tritanopia blue color blindness. I can't see blue, but I can see yellows and greens like at all. Everything that you guys see as yellow is to me either white or like a light pink, like you said. And greens and blues are the exact same color. So when I look at like a sky in Minecraft, it's the same color as the ground. The way that it works is that specific cones on your like, oh, there we go. Tiny Lulu. Specific cones on your, is it called the retina in English? Is not just aren't there for me. So I won't be able to see those colors, and I didn't actually know that I was colorblind until I started streaming. I was playing Apex.
Guess, you know, that. How would you know? Because you see what you see, and that
you see
you're
what
not
you see.
actually.
If nobody ever questions it.
Yeah, and for that you are still seeing some colors. It's not like you can't see any of them, and that you know, traffic lights you can't tell any difference, or that I can see how you could go about your day-to-day life for the most part without too much difficulty. But then in certain instances that things would be very difficult or confusing, but you wouldn't necessarily like it's not a normal thought process to ask, hey, are you seeing the same thing that I am seeing? That's just not really a solution that occurs to most people. So was it in Minecraft specifically that you sort of discovered that, or was it in a different game?
Oh, no, I was playing Apex with my friends, and they were trying to explain to me that two different ammo types, one of them was green and one of them was teal, and I kept picking up both of them thinking they're the exact same thing, and trying to use them, and then I didn't have enough ammo for the gun that I was actually holding. And at some point, one of my friends was like, are you colorblind or something? Like, do you want to use the colorblind mode? And I was like, wait, what?
Well,
That's you?
Because actually you did have a moment like that when you were playing Doom just the other day, that there was different ammo types, and someone in chat said, pick up the green one. And you actually said, Chad, you're going to have to be more specific because I can't tell which one is green.
Yeah. And I'm already playing Doom on the colorblind mode. I don't know if it displays the same way for people watching, because obviously I can't see the difference. But Doom has the colorblind mode, and I don't know if the capture from the capture software, like from OBS, shows it the same way that I see it through the colorblind mode, or if they show it without the filter. So I have no clue if we even see the same thing.
I do not know that either, but
no idea.
This is again Minecraft, and actually mentioned grass being the same color as the sky. You can sort of see there that to my eyes, the sky and the leaves on the tree that you have here both appear sort of a teal color. So I can see how that would end up being different. And then the bread that you have in your hand appears to me more pinkish than brownish. But yeah, so you have those differences there, and I can see where you were saying you thought something was lava, and it turned out to actually just be the ground. So you would go, wee, splat.
But it is what it is. I used to do like manhunts and speedruns on stream, and sometimes because I need everything to be a bit more clearer and I can't use the shader packs on my end, especially if I make a video of 2 POVs. It was very difficult because I constantly have to look at the pattern of the block to see if I'm still running on the correct surface or not, or if I'm about to hit water or grass. It's really tough.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not where we should be yet, but I feel like game developers are starting to get better about colorblind modes. That at least it's something that most developers are more conscious of nowadays. That whether or not they actually implement them well can vary, but it's certainly more commonplace, I feel, than it used to be.
Yeah, a lot more games also, especially if they have color puzzles, will make the effort of like putting a symbol on it. Like Among Us has symbols on the wire task now. It didn't have it when it first came out.
Yep, I remember
They really
that
thought
change.
about it. Yeah, and Uno, the multiplayer for Uno, like the one that I sometimes play on stream when I do big collabs during long streams, they have little symbols. Like the green card has a little tree on it, so you can actually tell them apart.
Yeah,
that's a good progress.
Are there any innovations that you'd like to see in the future? Are there like particular approaches that you're like, I think this might be an easier way to convey it, or maybe it's even like different aspects of, okay, game developers don't normally think to put colorblind things here in this way that I'd like to see?
In general, it's so much more helpful if you just put the name of the color on the colored thing. It's such a simple fix to just put, you know, this is a red box, write red on it too. Makes it so much easier. But there are games that just don't want to go that extra step, sadly. But I understand that sometimes it's in the way, because if you have extra letters there, it gets extra confusing for people that don't need that feature. I would like to have the film that is on colorblind glasses, like the way that I own them, to just be available for everyone to buy, because sadly these things are patented. So you have to buy colorblind glasses from one of their like specific retailers that sell them, that have the license for it. If you could just get the sheets that are on those glasses to put on your TV screen or on your PC screen, it would make it a whole lot easier.
Oh, that's interesting. I never even thought about that. And, you know, just the concept of sort of, well, an overlay that you would just, put on that type of screen that, you know, once again, capitalism, very interesting.
Capitalism.
Interesting, you know, sort of niche markets, for lack of a better term, but, you know, that hopefully one figures a way to get around patents and things, and, you know, that there's obviously a market for it, that there's a good number of people who would have that variation. But I guess also the challenging part might be, since there is obviously not just one type of color blindness, that you can't exactly, you know, have a shop that is stocking a whole bunch of things for every potential iteration of color blindness. It makes me wonder, like, I guess it would probably have to be sort of a made-to-order type of thing.
Yeah, like with the glasses, it's they're separated into the different types. I like advertise the shop. I'm not sponsored by them, but I advertise them sometimes on my stream, because they have this like link where you can get a simulation of different types of color blindness for screenshots that you can take of games and stuff.
Yep.
So people can get a better understanding.
Threw that one in chat already, but I'll.
Oh yeah, there it is. There it is.
One again, right there. Oh yeah.
But it's just a film that they put over already existing like glasses, or in my case, the only one that I could get for mine was sunglasses. So everything is a whole lot darker when I wear them on stream.
And that doesn't help for things like Elden Ring when it's already pretty dark. But actually, that's some of the next screenshots we have here. So this is actually a slightly brighter one, and the differences here are actually less obvious. One of
we're in sealed, yeah. Everything's red and blue anyway. So
yeah. And actually, the biggest difference here is the donation bar is a very different color, but otherwise it's, you know, some shades different, but at the very least, there's nothing too jarring on that one. But it's the type of thing that, you know, the color palette in general of Elden Ring and of Dark Souls and the like are usually darker color palettes. So if you're wearing sunglasses on top of those, that actually that goes from being a colorblind problem to a just general sight problem, and that's not good either.
Most games have the same issue, sadly.
Waifu in the chat has a brand name Sheepy Screens. That's what your you know, upcoming patented screen overlay brand is going to be.
Oh, that would be beautiful. I would love to have that. Acer, hey Acer, hit me up.
Yep, there we go. Yep. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag please sponsor Lulu.
Hashtag please sponsor us. Give us some free screens.
Yeah. We have this one. This is sort of a town that now we're getting into more blue colors here. So the one with the filter again is the one that's on top, and that actually appears more of a teal, whereas on the lower one you have more of a purple type of look to my eyes. One thing that does occur to me is your model is generally the same. That just the pink that you use in your model is pretty much unchanged with and without the filter. Was that deliberate, or was that just incidental?
No, it was just an accident. I picked the colors for my model from a palette, and I just wanted to pick colors that I really liked. There was a running gag on the stream that I'm actually purple, and I don't believe it. Purple isn't real. People need to wake up. Purple isn't real.
Purple's a lie. Well,
Purple's a lie.
The purple is certainly not the color of Twitch. It's not, you know, what all the check marks are.
Nah, they're great. They've always been great.
But I guess, so is it the type of thing that, looking back now, since it's not something that you discovered until a bit later in life, do you now have these moments of realization of people talking about the color purple or talking about the color gray or other things like that, and realizing, oh, I was really confused about this thing back then, and now that I understand what I can and can't see, I know why I was so confused back then? Are there any like memories that pop up of, oh, it makes sense now?
I don't want to know how many times I walked out like into the outside world in like odd color combinations. I mostly wear goth clothing now, so it's different. It's less difficult to mix and match clothing because it's all black. Problem solved. But before that, wearing out clothes, how many times did I wear like random green and blue or purple items thinking that they're different colors?
Oh.
Oh no.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
at least,
F,
you know,
F for the wardrobe.
Green and blue, I feel like, still goes pretty well together anyway. So even if you didn't know you were being fashionable, you were probably still being fashionable.
I'd hope so. I hope I didn't walk outside wearing like a whole green screen outfit one day. It's also sad because I remember that pre-concussion a few years ago, it was completely different. Like, I remember what purple looked like to me. I should probably like preface this. A few years ago, I had a really bad concussion. I was in hospital. I was really dizzy and really ill for a couple of days. And then I started streaming, so I probably didn't notice the change until I had that collab where people pointed out that I was picking up the wrong ammo types. That I have memories of colors being more vivid and there being more colors.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually.
They're slowly fading away. It's really
I did
sad.
not know
like,
that.
I've heard it could happen also with certain medications that you can lose your sight or your cones for the way that you perceive color. That is F respectfully for Lulu a few years ago.
Okay, well, that also
had RGB vision.
sort of makes more sense of that usually they have colorblind tests for kids that I remember when I was like, you know, I don't know, probably 8, 9, 10-ish, that I took a colorblind test just, you know, when I went to the doctor one time. It was sort of a standard thing, and that would also explain that sort of how you might not have known until you were older, because it didn't happen until you were older. But that's obviously not a very happy story, but it's an interesting one, that the context of everything really adds up there. So, you know, like I said, it's not good, but it's fascinating.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, and it's fascinating in its own right, and it's still really cool that one, that you're able to, you know, power through everything and still do what you do, and that at the same time you're also able to sort of raise awareness that this is episode 70 of Vtuber Talk, and I have not actually had, at least to my knowledge, a colorblind guest until now. So this is also a really cool learning experience for me.
That's so cool. I'm glad to be the colorblindness educator. I'm doing something useful for once. I'm not just a capitalist gamer sheep.
Hey, you're useful. Don't put yourself down like that. But
70 episodes. I'm kind of sad we didn't make it to 69.
yeah, I know that we did have our giggles last week.
I'm kind of sad I missed it now.
Well, actually, it did just go up on YouTube because, like I mentioned, all my shows go up on YouTube usually about a week or so after the show. That you know, Twitch only keeps VODs up for 2 weeks when you're not a partner, and even only 60 days, I think, when you are a partner. I think it's very silly that they don't just let you have permanent VODs. That you know, that's one of the things I think YouTube does a lot better. But meh.
I think it's the volume of data as well, because it's like
sense.
at least my VODs are like sometimes 2-3 gigabytes big. I don't think as a streaming platform you could keep them forever. That's a lot of real estate.
Well, I guess, you know, YouTube does, but they probably don't have as many streamers as Twitch does. And, you know, I'm definitely a business geek, so that stuff does also interest me as well. Just the sort of how and why certain decisions are made by companies. That, all right, you know, you look at YouTube and you say, they do it, why can't Twitch? But you very well might have a point of just the sheer volume of live streaming VODs that Twitch would have to facilitate is probably magnitudes more than what YouTube would have to facilitate. But meanwhile, YouTube also facilitates, you know, just video uploads. And sort of how does the math shake out in terms of, you know, resources and costs there. So we will probably never know, because those are usually pretty closely guarded corporate secrets. But it's interesting hypotheticals nonetheless, at least for me. But I'm just a nerd. Now, actually, while we are here, one other thing I have on this particular screen is your recent music video that just recently you released your first original song, actually. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn down the BGM, and
Turn down for what?
I'm just gonna actually let us watch through this. That this is Lulu's new original song, "I for a Lie." Lyrics actually by a past guest of mine, Snee. I forgot to get down the full credits, but they are all available on the YouTube release, which just hit 1,000 views. You mentioned earlier today. Only, you know, this only released, I think, 3 days ago, 2-3 days ago. That's still very,
I
very
released
new.
on Wednesday.
Yeah. So please enjoy. This is "I for a Lie."
The fire burns into my skin, a silent symphony, a desperate scream from deep within, the promised agony. Longing for revenge is the fatal flaw we pretend we didn't see, but it makes us kneel. For the truth is we are liars and our fate's already sealed. We'll keep cutting into skin until the bones are revealed. Now clap my wings and go on ahead. No point in flying when I'm already dead. Destroy what's left, but be careful now, 'cause I'll be back to reap what you've sown. We're dancing deep within the flames, fading. We are fading. Trying to pretend that you can control your own end. How do you sleep telling lies that cheap? Are you ready for the show? Are you ready for my wrath? Just you try to keep on running, I'll destroy your path. Eternity doesn't feel that long when all your mistakes refuse to move on. Despite my fear, I could disappear. This is my voice, I am still here. I am still here. Destroy what's left, but be careful. give you just one last kiss. This is my goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Now grab my wings and go on ahead. No point in flying when I'm already dead. Destroy what's left, but be careful now, 'cause I'll be back to leave what you stole. Fading, we are fading. Fading, we are fading. Despite my fear, I could disappear. This is my voice, I am still here. I am still here. I am still here.
Woo! Yay!
Wow, yay.
One second, I'm gonna get the BGM back up. I'm gonna move us back to the main screen. That way we can get. Whee!
Yay.
Yes, absolutely. First off,
Did
congratulations
you
to
like
you.
it?
Congratulations to everyone involved. The
Nice.
whole thing, top to bottom, the video was
Yay.
super good. Obviously, you know, the lyrics, the mixing, fantastic job all around. I guess just starting at the top, what came first? The idea of I want to write an original song, or was it I want to write a song about this specifically?
Oh, joke's on you. I'm writing lyrics all the time.
Ah,
I always wanted to make original songs, but I know that it's not the best idea to start out with making just a random song out of nowhere when you have no audience. I was like, hey, you know what? Once I start streaming, I might get a chance to. And I sometimes wish I would have started sooner, because some of these lyrics, at least the version that I gave to Snee, were lying around for like half a year or so, because I was too scared to put any of them out there.
okay, so I guess, so how exactly did the lyric collaboration work with Snee? That you mentioned that you wrote some and then passed those off to her. That was it sort of that you gave her some initial thoughts and a couple lines, and that she filled things out, or what was sort of the process for all of that?
I have like little notebooks with lyric lines that I really like, and some of them made it in. Most of them didn't, because I gave to Snee, I gave the general idea of like the feeling that I wanted to convey in the song, and we had already written the background music part for it. We just didn't have a vocal melody yet, so Snee made both the vocal melody and put all of my lyrics into something that made sense and was less of a mumbo jumbo of emo times TM.
So, I was like,
Because I don't think I could make a rhyme for to save my life. I don't think I could do that.
well, that's one of the other interesting things, that there wasn't really a rhyme scheme per se. That, you know, every line did not rhyme with every other line. There were some, but
No.
it was a bit more free flowing. It still felt very natural and very good, but you know, it wasn't that sort of standard A B rhyme scheme. What exactly? You had said there was sort of a core concept that you wanted to convey. If you are comfortable sharing, what was that core concept?
The idea was the feeling of drowning or being forgotten, especially in content creation when you feel like you're constantly creating stuff. Like I can tell you the story of I was sitting in this chair here every single day for 12 to 18 hours a day thinking of what to do next, creating content. And I felt like, at least at the beginning, nobody was listening. Like nobody really cared about what I was doing. And a lot of the lyrics happened at that stage and I carried them over into like later times. Now I don't feel so drowned out anymore. But I think it's an important message to send because not everyone gets super lucky and has that one viral video when they first start out. In fact, like most viral videos, like what we have as viral videos in our heads, from like a few million views, like they happen on TikTok, they happen on YouTube, and they're forgotten the next day. They used to be a big thing, and now viral videos as a concept doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, they did.
Viral video is just a video that does well that day, I guess.
Yeah, they did. I get the feeling that you and I are approximately the same age. That we sort of remember when hitting 1 million views on YouTube, that was a really big deal. Or
wow, that's your entire career.
If memory serves, actually, just this week, YouTube was sort of celebrating the billion view club, which has it's still a very small club. It's only 31 videos, I think. But I remember when Gangnam Style became the first billion view video, and that was a really big deal.
That's incredible. I can't even think about like the billion is such a long number.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
And just that there are so many content creators out there, and like you said, that it can be very easy to feel like you aren't standing out, and that even if you are, that just it's a very human thing to compare yourselves to others, and you need to make sure that you're always doing that in a healthy way, but brainworms are real, folks, and that even if all right, I shouldn't compare myself to others, it's going to be a natural thing, and it's sort of that constant struggle of balancing, okay, being thoughtful, introspective, and thinking, all right, what can I do to improve myself? That obviously it's healthy to look around and say, hey, what are other people doing that is successful? What can I learn from them? How can I adapt it and add things to my own content? But at the same time, not being so dragged down by seeing, oh gosh, these people are succeeding and I'm not, I must be doing wrong, or, being overly negative on yourself. So I can definitely understand that. And, it takes time to succeed in content creation, and there's so much circumstance, there's an amount of luck that, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of skill involved, there's a lot of thoughtfulness and effort that goes into succeeding, but no two content creation journeys are the same. That it's going to vary so much, and there are a lot of videos out there of advice and stuff, and yeah, some of the advice is good, that there are some generic concepts for sure that are gonna apply to most people, but there is no one simple formula for success.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of advice content specifically as the content to get audience in is a very good clickbait format. It's a very good clickbait format, but it's sadly just that. I've seen so many of these that are just like, oh yeah, with these simple steps. By the way, you get step 1 and 2 in this YouTube video, and then buy my ebook.
Yeah, no, that just
$69.99 plus tax.
I think the videos, the types of content that are good in that realm are here's how to get started. Here's how to set up OBS. Here's, the basics of a microphone. That the more foundational stuff, I think, is very useful, because like I said, foundational stuff is usually going to apply to most people. But if someone's saying, hey, here's how you go viral, no.
Not going to happen. Get a manager. Get a manager.
Yep. Now, there's one of the recurring lines in Eye for a Lie is, I'll be back to reap what you've sown. So even if you have the overarching concept of, drowning, that there is a second party being referred to here, and it sounds like that either you or the character, so to speak, of the singer has been wronged in some way, or that that they've had some sort of conflict. And once again, I preface all this of only share what you're comfortable with. I don't want to get into overly personal things, but are you able to shed a bit of light on that?
Oh, I wish that was a cool rivalry story. I wish that was a cool rivalry story, but I became a content creator out of spite because people said I couldn't do it.
I love it. Oh, well, first off, you're not the first person I've heard say that, but
Okay, good.
I am a sucker for spite success stories. I think that is one of the coolest things, legitimately, of just saying, you think I can't? Well, fine, I'll prove you wrong, and then I'm gonna, end up being really successful and happy in so many more ways because of this. So yeah, screw you, and thanks, I guess. That is almost a thanks at that point. I'm really happy now because of you, and, you know, it's wonderful that you were able to take something that in the moment is negative and turn it into such a positive for yourself.
I think I had a big... Oh, oh no! There goes my thought. Don't go away. Come back. Don't leave me. Don't leave me here. Don't leave me here in this word salad. You've got an excellent thought. Come back. Okay. There it is. I think having it's a long story of that. I used to not even talk much. I live with roommates. I don't live with my parents anymore. I live with my roommates, and they were so scared that I was talking so much in my room.
Oh, did they not know you were streaming?
No, in the beginning, nobody knew. My other roommate, she has moved away since. She was a streamer before, and she gave me the idea of like, hey, you know what? Actually, I think it would be really cool if I could test this out. I might like it. So I got my first VTuber model, and I started streaming, and I started talking so much, and then in the hype of feeling super comfortable and talkative after the stream, I would talk to them, and they're like, "Are you okay? Are you on something? Are you drunk? Like, what is going on?"
Yeah, what happened to our quiet roommate?
What happened? Why won't you shut up? Please shut up.
That's fantastic, but also at the same time, I can see where, you know, if you have roommates and they just sort of one day start hearing a lot of mumbling or noises or yelling from the other side of the apartment walls, that they might be a little bit confused.
Yeah. I don't think they were ready for like just how weird it got. I talked to them later on, and I said, "Hey, listen, like I'm a VTuber. I'm sorry to inform you. I'm feeling society." But I'm really happy. Before I started streaming, I was planning towards it for a few years. And I was working 2 part-time jobs so I could afford the rig and the setup and the computer and the video games and the VTuber model. And I'm so glad I don't have to work a night shift anymore. I'm so glad. I'm so done with people. I only want to talk to chat. That's it.
Yeah, you even recently made a tiny little model that you had actually on your shoulder earlier. It's not the same as the it's not the same as the one that you were showing earlier, but it's this tiny little white sheep, and you were mentioning that unlike chat, it does shut up once a day.
It does shut up once a day. It's the I think it's a meme creature from a few weeks ago, and I like to adopt memes that have been out of circulation for a couple of days, bring them back and be like, here, look, 10-minute nostalgia.
Yeah.
And chat really liked Lou, so Lou is gonna come back eventually.
Yes, yeah.
It's like having an angel on your shoulder, but it's just absolutely unhinged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and hopefully your roommates were, you know, supportive and everything, that even if they found out a little bit after the fact of the explanation of this is why you are hearing things, and you will continue to hear things, but at least you don't need to worry about it.
At least the rent is getting paid, so
yeah, there you go. That's the important thing. Are there, I guess, for the song that, gosh, I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this. My own thought, hey, get back here. When you were writing the song and working with Snee for the lyrics, was there sort of a back and forth of just she would come to you with some lines and say, all right, I like this, but maybe can we change this a little bit that way? Was there sort of that collaboration, or was it Snee sort of wrote all these and you were just like, this is it, this is great?
I think I sent Snee my like document of like 4 or 5 pages of garbage, and we had a back and forth for like 2 or 3 messages, and then she immediately had it, and that was it. I was like, "Yep, that's perfect. I'm fine."
Yeah.
She has an incredibly amazing feeling for these things. Like I think I could give her like I don't know, a toilet paper, and she would turn it into an amazing song.
Snee is oopsies, I think I forgot the underscore.
Oh no.
Oh. Streamlabs Y, come on, work with me here. I'm trying to shout out Snee, work with me.
Go, 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 go.
There we go, that's better, yeah. But
Nah.
Snee was actually, if memory serves, my 5th guest. So 65 episodes ago, it was a while that she had actually just released her first original song of her own, Delete. So I'm definitely familiar with her lyric writing, and that I know it is a service that she offers that she does commissions for that sort of thing. So you're absolutely right that she's very skilled at you know, she's multilingual, and she's able to do a lot of different things, and it's really cool that you were actually working with her on that, and that you were able to have something where you sort of gave her this big, you said it was like 4 or 5 page batch of words, and then she sort of sifted through things, parsed a few things, and was able to curate it all, I suppose. And you know, then with just a couple minor edits, that you had something that was really good, and that that's such a cool interaction, really, that, you know, some folks think that, all right, if you want to do your own song, that you have to do it all yourself, and that's not true. That there are you know, people, there are services that you can work with and collaborate with to create something that, if there's a certain aspect of things, of, you know, you also had folks helping with the video and the mixing, and that while it was still your project very much, that, you know, you were the one that started with the idea, that you got the ball rolling and coordinated with all these people and put in that legwork, that you then sort of became, I guess, a team leader in that sense, where the project started with your idea, and then you all together were able to make something really, really cool.
Even a lot of like mainstream artists, when you go into I'm old, I'm aging myself. When you go into records, when you go into like a record store, a place that sells CDs, you guys remember CDs? Oh yeah, CDs were wonderful. Most of these people, like I would say, at least 90% of them don't 100% write their own songs either. So I didn't feel super precious about doing everything myself, because I know I'm not super musically gifted. I know I can sing and I can play a few instruments, but writing lyrics that make sense and sound like, I don't know, like sound pleasing to your ears, it's really, really difficult. It takes a lot of skill. It takes years and years of learning it, and I don't think I could do it overnight. And if I get a chance again, I would love to work with Snee again.
And you'll have to remind me, I forget who did the music for it.
The background music is made by Peter Lemieux. He's also linked in the music video if you want to, like, link to the music video in the chat.
Yeah.
His social medias are below.
Yeah, so for that part, did you go, I'm guessing you were giving, once again, sort of a general feel, a genre of, all right, I wanted to be sort of, I guess, using your own words there, a bit emo, and that you had the guitar focus and everything. Was that a, you know, one time in that Peter had what you were looking for? Was there some modifications that happened along the way for that part?
We've made covers. Like, Peter has made all of my song cover background music since I started streaming. So he knew roughly what I wanted, because I normally want a more rock arrangement for everything. I want more guitars. I want better, like, louder beats, because I find louder drums and louder guitars a lot more appealing in songs than if everything was just made electronically. He gets that feeling across quite well, because he actually came to me with a bunch of ideas of, like, other songs that I should listen to that I didn't, like, bands I've never heard about, like really small bands. And I found the right kind of, like, feeling, and originally I wanted to put a screamo part in it. But then when it came to recording, I was down with the sickness. I had COVID, and that didn't work out. There was no way. There was no way we're gonna put a screamo line in there.
I guess So in that case, are you interested in perhaps your next piece having a screamo line?
I'm counting on it. I don't want to say too much yet, but I've started working on something a couple weeks ago again.
Oh boy, oh boy. Well, yeah, that obviously, you just released Eye for Alive, so, take your time, enjoy this victory lap for sure, but I'm not surprised to hear that this is not going to be the last song that we hear from you. And in general, like you said, that music is something that you really enjoy, that you play a couple of instruments. One that you play on stream a little bit is the kalimba, actually. And obviously there was no kalimba in this particular music video.
No.
And I suppose, if anything, the kalimba sort of feels like the oddity because you have an interest in death metal. So I guess, where does kalimba come into play for all of this?
Oh, I was bored on Amazon one day. I saw it, I was like, hey, that could be funny. I always like tiny instruments. Like, I have a triangle, I have maracas, I have, what are they called, castanets or something?
Yeah, castanets, yeah.
Yeah, like, I have some of those, because, like, I sometimes see musical instruments that are small and cheap, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's that one specifically. So I also have like a small gong for my stream that I have here permanently. The original idea for me was to put it up and shoot it with a Nerf dart every time I get a gifted sub, but then I ran out of Nerf darts.
Yeah, you run out of darts real quickly.
And I didn't want to keep collecting darts in the middle of my stream, so it's just a regular gong for the moment.
So do you have all these instruments like on a cart next to you, or do you just, keep one or two for the day that are on your desk? How do you end up deciding?
They're just here. They're just on the desk. I also have like I have a ukulele. I used to do a quick ukulele, like a riff thingy for longer streams when I got a big donation, but I didn't have time for it anymore. And I think playing Elden Ring, pausing in the middle of a fight to play that and then going back makes it even more difficult.
Yeah, that definitely is not going to work as easily.
No. Sadly not. I wish. That would be funny, I think.
So how many different instruments do you, small instruments do you have now that just, I think you mentioned, what would be 6 or 7, I think?
Yeah, I think there's like somewhere between 7 and 8. I have that, I don't know what it's called in English. Oh, I have no idea what's in called in Japanese either. It's like a castaneta thingy, but it's on a stick. So when you move it, it makes like a little rattling sound. I haven't found it I haven't seen it in the pile of instruments, but I know I have it.
I can picture it in my head, and don't worry, I don't know what that thing's called either. And I've been in orchestras and bands. It's it is a percussion instrument of some sort.
A noisy thing.
It is noisy.
I love that thing. I also have a bunch of string instruments because I used to play cello. I haven't played in forever. It's just it's under my now existent bed. It's been there for a while. I haven't touched it in forever. I have 2 guitars, and I also have a bass that I recently started playing. I love playing the bass. The bass is so chill.
Yeah, actually, that was going to be one of the questions of, so, you played cello for a while, so was that something that you did in school, I guess?
Yeah, in school, we didn't have a lot of choice for instruments. It was like, if you want to be part of the school orchestra, you can have free lessons, but otherwise get out. So I was like, all right, I'll take the big one because I'm quite tall, and they were very happy to let me have it. So I took lessons in that for a while, and I played it for quite a bit.
Yeah,
and there's actually not a huge difference between the cello and playing the electric bass. Almost the same thing.
Yeah, that obviously, one you're using a bow and the other you're plucking, but in terms of, where you're going to put your fingers and the notes in general, that it's relatively similar, at least. That I myself was in band throughout middle school, high school, and college. I played the trombone, so I was a wind as opposed to a string instrument player. But one of my really, really good friends played cello, and I know that actually cellos are very much coveted by schools because everyone wants to play the violin. Everybody wants to play the violin. There's too many violins in every school, every orchestra, and not enough of the lower ones. And that's actually how I wound up playing trombone, funny enough. Because initially I wanted to play trumpet, because the trumpet is the violin of the wind band, that it's the one that everybody wants to play, that and the flute. And I was talking with the band director at my middle school because I was starting a couple years after that most folks start in like 4th, 5th grade, at least where I grew up. But I started in 7th grade. and the band director was like, there's a lot of trumpets in the band, and if you were to pick up trumpet right now in the 7th grade, we'd have to put you in the 6th grade band because there's just too many trumpets. But if you play trombone, we actually don't have any trombones in the 7th grade band. So you would get to be in the 7th grade one. And it was like, well, I want to be in the band that has all my friends in it, so sure, I'll play trombone. Easy decision. And so I get to say that I was first chair trombone throughout middle school. Doesn't matter.
Wow.
Don't tell anyone. I was the only trombone. That's why I was first chair.
It's okay. They don't tell them that. Don't tell them that you're the best one out of all of them.
Best
you don't
one,
have to know that you're the only one.
I was such a natural. But it's very similar for trombones and cellos, that those are both the lower voices in their respective ensembles. So I definitely know that the band director must have been very happy to have one more cellist to work with, for sure.
Yeah, it was free real estate. I'm just so glad I got to learn something, because I was always begging my parents to learn piano or learn guitar, and they were like, no, that's expensive, no.
So when did you end up picking up guitar? Because we'll get to bass in a bit, which you mentioned you started more recently, but you also said you have not one but 2 guitars.
Yeah, I have an acoustic and I have an electric guitar. My electric guitar has recently found home. Yay. It's the electric guitar I originally learned playing on. I started learning guitar after I finished, after I dropped out of high school. And I've done it for a few years, and then I got bored of it, and I just put it aside, and I never picked it up again. And then I walked past an electronics store, and I was like, hey, it's midlife crisis time! And I bought it.
So how long ago did you pick that up? Is it, a year now, a couple of months?
Oh, the bass, 3 months max.
Okay, so really new then.
Yeah. A recent midlife crisis purchase.
And you mentioned that you are a big fan of death metal, and unsurprising given what we hear in Eye for a Lie, that, once again, using your own words, that sort of the emo rock or death metal, that is that a genre you have enjoyed for a long time, or one that you've gotten into more recently?
I would say a longer time. I would say my taste in music is more trucker dad / metal. So I didn't listen to emo traditionally emo bands since high school as well, because it was very, very popular for a while, and I was like, okay, back to Leonard Skinner, back to Metallica, here we go. And then recently I was like, hey, you know what? This is actually there's some really good music out there that I always dismiss because it's not 50 years old.
And I guess death metal is... I've had a couple of folks on the show before who are really into death metal. That actually, Barry the Bugbear is one that I actually referred you to his channel the other day because, his so actual flavoring, that he is a death metal barbarian. That's his whole character. But it's the type of thing that just in the VTuber community, death metal is not actually that common. That, you're generally going to see more of your J-pop or just, pop in general. And then you'll get some metal at time to time, but, death metal even less than that. So it's actually really cool to see you sort of bringing that a bit more into the forefront and, adding to the musical diversity in the VTuber community as a whole.
Yay! I know a lot of it is pop music, but there's some really cool pop music out there coming from VTubers. It's incredible.
Oh yeah. And I don't mean to be saying anything bad about that. One of my past guests actually just released a new song cover last night of it was a whole live cover, and it was really, really good. And just I love seeing people release, doesn't matter if it's an original or a cover, that I appreciate all forms of music, even if it's not one that I personally enjoy, because I know there's so much effort that goes into it. And that, even if you're just doing a cover, that when you do a cover, you're putting your all into it. And the reason that you're doing that cover is because that song means something to you. And it means enough that you're going to put in that time and effort to make your own version and put your own mark in it because you love it so much. And then, obviously, doing an original is all that and then you're literally building it from the ground up. So I love seeing whenever folks release stuff and, you know, being able to get these really polished productions out there that sometimes, you know, even just karaoke streams, that those are great. Doesn't matter if it's karaoke or, you know, fully produced like you have with Eye for a Lie, but it's definitely something that, as someone who's never ventured into that particular area of music, that, you know, I've been in orchestras and ensembles for many years, not as many recently, but that was a really big part of my life for a good while, over a decade, really. And so I just love seeing it, because I love seeing people engaging with their passions, you know?
That's so sweet. I freaking hate karaoke streams. I've done it once, and I've been so scared of them, from the DMCA point to the no, I can't breathe right. What if I sound horrible? And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was a subathon redeem. I will never do it again. It scares me so much. Like singing on my Discord server is something completely else, but singing on Twitch is like so terrifying.
So the only
you
time
see the little staff and says like, say goodbye to your channel.
No.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
The only time this channel has ever been muted was for my first anniversary charity marathon, which I did in January. I did 2 songs. One was the Poke Rap, and the other I did Rainbow Connection, actually. And even the karaoke version of Rainbow Connection I did got muted.
Oh no.
So that is the one time. Fortunately, I didn't get a copyright strike or anything, so it wasn't that bad. But that is the one time this channel has been muted, was that even the karaoke version was enough to get that automated trigger there. I also found out after the fact that what I was hearing in OBS was not entirely aligned with.
Oh no, you have like a delay.
That there was like about a half second to a second delay. So you know, the audience was very supportive, that they were cheering the whole time. I didn't realize it until after the stream, when I went back to listen, because like I'm pretty confident in my singing. I'm not going to say I'm the best one out there, but I can carry a tune for sure. And I was, you know, just going back and be like, hey, I thought I did all right on this, and then going back listening was like, oh no. At the very least, it was the type of thing that it was. I wasn't upset because I had sung poorly or anything. It was like it was a tech thing, so it's just frustrating in that degree. But I know, you know, that's another hurdle you have to do when you're trying to stream karaoke, and that's before you talk about very legitimate DMCA concerns or just any type of stress or worry on top of that.
Yeah. Terrifying.
Daniel, that's a lot of numbers. 89346721. Thank you for the follow. Also, I think I missed Chill the Dragon a while back. I'm so sorry, Chill. Thank you for following. But you mentioned you do have karaoke streams on your Discord.
Oh, I want to. I really badly want to. There's always something that comes up last minute, but I think we've done it once, like long time, like a year ago or so. I would love to do that again on the Discord server, because it's a lot more chill and people could join in. Whereas on the stream, I can't really like let people on the Discord server talk on my stream. That's inviting it.
That's too risky. Well, if you want to join Lulu's Discord, there is actually a link down in the panels that I set up a couple things with links to your Twitch, Twitter, and the Discord is on there as well. So you can scroll down and find your Discord there, and be able to just keep up with Lulu in general, but then also find out if there ends up being a karaoke stream, or rather a karaoke night in Discord in the future, that you'll be there for it.
Join, post some worms. We have a channel that's literally just posting worm emotes. That's it. That's all the channel is for. Just worms. Got worms. You guys got worms.
I always appreciate when different Discord servers just have their own unique thing, because most places have the standard, you know, general chat, introductions, promo, voice chat, stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes folks will have something more original or just very specific to their community, and I do appreciate that you have the Worms channel in yours.
Yeah, we got worm posting wherever we go. We bring out worms.
How
contagious.
How did worms become a thing? Because obviously, you know, we have sheep. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because I miss you.
Because I've seen some of those like worm models around. Is that just where it came from? Because that's what it sort of looks like to me, but I don't know for sure how it became a thing for you.
This is the most boring story. The worms have taken over. I have done ASMR stream in the past. I have an ASMR microphone, and I haven't used it in a while because while I was pushing for partner, I was like, it's not the safest thing to do right now. It's not. But I was unpacking worms on a string next to that ear microphone, so you could hear the crinkle of the packaging. And I had a little campaign going where if you spend 666 channel points, you could unbox your own worm, and I would pick a specific color. You can give it a name, and I would slither it across the ears. So I was like, you know what? Let's make an emote for that. So I made the pink worms, and they have survived since.
Hey, that's how some of the best things start. Of just that it's a one-off joke, and that you run with it. That you realize that people are enjoying it, and that's how memes start. That it's just a one-off joke. That it has to start somewhere.
This worm has been with us since like January or so, because it was still very, very cold in my room. So worm posting has been a thing for over 6 months. That's incredible.
Yay!
Go worms!
Does the worm even have a name? I don't think it does. It's just worm.
No, it's just worm, sadly. It's worm off the string. It's like worms on the string are controlled and safe. Worm off the string are like people off the rails.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. Look at them go. Look at them wiggle. Look at them.
Look at them wiggling.
Not a care in the world.
So, as you're starting to learn bass, are you doing lessons of any sort, or just self-taught with a book? How are you approaching that?
Oh, I'm taking like online classes. The online class is literally just a video course that I pay for, one-off. That was the most helpful so far. I don't like people interaction. It makes me nervous. Go away, go away. And I actually don't know how to read sheet music, so I thought buying a book and learning it from a book is probably a bad idea.
Okay,
so
okay.
I just sat there like, you know what? Yeah, this is probably the safest way. And it has been better. I know how to play certain songs now. I know how to like what my strings are called. I'm having a good time like just jamming out without anything. So I think I'm doing something right. But I'm not playing it with the plan to go and join a band or do anything big with it. It's just a fun little me time, because I don't have a lot of spare time outside of streaming.
Can't imagine why. Yeah, you're just busy with this little thing called full-time streaming.
Yeah. Incredible how like streaming can take over your life. I thought it was just a fun little side gig.
I know that I only do this once a week for that reason. That Vtuber Talk was designed to be a small thing because I have a lot of other projects, honestly, that I do just throughout the week, and I knew I didn't have the time to dedicate to a full-time streaming schedule. That's part of why I knew I didn't want to be a VTuber myself, among other things. But just even just once a week, it still takes time. It still takes the effort, and I've fortunately found a really good sort of procedure, I suppose, for the show, and that I'm very glad I only made it once a week for myself. I definitely confirmed that was the right choice for me. But yeah, that doing full-time streaming takes a lot of effort. It's not just, you hit live, that you need to be planning. You need to be doing these updates at all the time that goes into prepping for, actually getting a song made, or just updates and different things like that. That there's so many different things that people don't actually see because it's happening offline.
Yeah. I'm so glad I have editors now, because I hate video editing with a burning passion, and I'm so glad I don't have to sit there once a week until like 4 in the morning, edit a video last minute. I'm so glad I don't. Oh, that was the worst part, because I still edit like shorts content, and I record stuff, and I plan other projects, and I plan for debut. There's a lot of things that I can't talk about until I have them for certain and everything's delivered and ready, because I don't want to disappoint anyone.
For sure,
then boom, day is over.
Yep. You mentioned that you do sometimes up to 7 shorts in a day. So you mentioned that you have some editors that I can imagine, just doing 7 shorts a day. Heck, that can end up being a full-time thing on its own if you're not delegating at least part of it.
Yeah, the shorts is all me. The clips that you see sometimes and the clip compilations over on YouTube, that's Cannonball's in chat. Say hi, Cannonball! Yay! That's him, like he's editing for me. Yay!
Yay, thank you for your work, Cannonball.
Thank you so much.
Pet the mods, pet the editors.
Pet the editor.
Yeah. Are there any...
Editing is the worst. I hate that so much.
are there any specific songs that, even if you're not looking to join a band, are there any pieces that you hope to be able to just either cover or even just play for yourself, of the goal of saying, I really like this song and I want to be able to learn to do this particular piece?
There's Feel Good Inc. by the Gorillaz. I really, really like. That was the first song I've ever heard of them, like years and years ago, and I would love to play that one day. That was one of the songs I really like.
Yeah, that's one that you're gonna have to be careful of for DMCA.
Yeah, I wouldn't play it on stream, no worries.
So you mentioned a little while back that you were also into horror games. So obviously, Elden Ring is a little bit creepy, but certainly not a horror game. Do you have any favorites in that genre that, I guess, do you consider things like Resident Evil? Is that a horror game to you? Is that an adventure game?
Resident Evil is a horror game to me. I played Resident Evil 7 all the way through on Steam. I really liked that one. I started playing Resident Evil 8 and then I just dropped it at some point because the puzzles were breaking my brain. And I'm not a puzzle-oriented person. It's horrible. So I had to give up. I might pick it back up in fall when it gets closer to Halloween. Last year on Halloween, I played, I think, a new horror game every week. I think that was the goal, and then a 24-hour stream of only horror games, including the worst of them all, Uno.
Oh
gosh,
your
friendships.
true terror right there. True terror.
True terror.
Like what is the scariest thing? The moment that it is the turn before yours when you have Uno. Are they gonna play the card that I need?
And you're eating pizza. You're trying not to fall asleep. You're eating pizza, and you don't have colorblind mode on. Oh no, it's a true horror.
Is there anything you really look for in a horror game? Something that is gonna really make the experience for you?
Good music and scary monsters. That's the main bit. That's why I really liked Resident Evil 7. There was some really good, because it's the people that are the horror. They make them look so very, very creepy. I really like horrors that have supernatural elements a lot, but horrors that have people doing the bad stuff and being the creepy ones gets me more, because it's something that, that could actually happen.
Yeah, it feels that little bit closer to being real, hits closer to home.
That is terrifying. Like, I played a game called Summer of 58. It's, I think it's in Russian, the original. There's an English dub for it, and I played it last summer. And it's so good. It's so terrifying. It has a supernatural element to it, but it's just, you don't expect the turns and the twists where they happen. It was great. I recommend that to everyone. It's a really short game. I think it's only like 3 hours long.
Oh, okay.
But, oh, wow.
Have you ever played a game called Oxenfree?
No, I haven't. I've heard that before. It sounds German. Is it a German game?
No, actually, it's an English one.
Oh, okay.
I only just played it recently myself, and I don't really like horror games. And I guess in some ways it is not quite a horror game. It's more, it's a narrative game with some horror elements that, without going into too much spoiler territory, essentially, it's a game where you have a group of friends that goes to this island to just, spend a night on the beach and just hang out. As, as most horror things start, of just, an innocent...
Just teenagers having a good time.
Having a good time in an isolated area where nobody can reach them and they can't reach anybody else. And that things start going quite wrong, and there might be something supernatural going on. And I won't go into more spoilers because part of it is, like you said, the twists and the surprises. But as someone who generally doesn't like horror games, I don't like horror. I don't enjoy horror movies. I'm glad other folks enjoy it. You all can enjoy it. I don't like being scared. I guess I enjoy thrillers. I like thrillers. I like things that make me think. And I'm totally fine with mysteries, even if it's a murder mystery. I'm not as into monsters and things of that sort. I enjoy watching streams of horror games. That I'm not so scared that I can't watch it, but it's not something that I'm gonna play on my own. But Oxenfree was a pretty good one. That it's not a very long game, but it has a lot of replay value, and like I said, it's a very narrative-driven one. So that's cool. But there is some there's some timing involved, that it's actually done, as the conversations go, that one other person will be talking and you'll see, usually it's 3 different dialogue options, and you have probably about 10 seconds to choose, and an option is to just not respond. That you can be silent as your character, and that will influence the narrative and the dialogue tree. So I'm not sure if that type of horror game, because there are, like I said, definitely horror elements. Not sure if that appeals to you, but that was one I played recently and enjoyed a fair bit.
Well, I might really like it. I really like the Detroit Become Human for that aspect of it, where it's just kind of like a movie. Like, you get to influence what happens. That was really great. I also played, by the same studio, Heavy Rain in the past. I really liked that one as well.
Yeah, that, once again, those aren't ones I've played on my own, but I've seen streams of both, and those are really cool ones, and just being able to have those different choices and see the story progress is really cool. I also know that when it comes to horror games, one of your favorites is Silent Hill, which is definitely a classic in the genre. What about Silent Hill stands out for you?
It's how they can consistently add on to that same world and universe without nullifying anything else. The first Silent Hill game that I played was Silent Hill 5 Homecoming. The most hated in the Silent Hill community. I don't understand why. I absolutely love it. There is some flaws with it, but to me it's perfect. I love this game so much.
So as someone who doesn't follow Silent Hill, what is Silent Hill 5 about, and what is it that a lot of the community doesn't like about it? I'm actually really curious.
Okay, the main character is he comes back from the war. CM, we don't know from where, just from the war. He's still in his military gear. Yeah, he's coming back home to his hometown, and everything's odd. His mom's catatonic. His brother is missing, and he tries to find his brother. And it intersects with the nightmare world of Silent Hill, and you don't know, is this reality? Isn't it reality? And the thing that people really hate in the community is that he's so overpowered because he knows exactly what to do, whereas all of the other protagonists are like regular real-life people. They don't have any combat experience normally. In Silent Hill 2 or 3, you play as this girl called Heather. Like, there's no way she could. It's more of a fear factor because you don't know. Do you have enough strength? Can you fight this thing?
You aren't sure if it's something that you can actually overcome, but if you know that your character is a military veteran and skilled in physical combat and weapons, then I can see how that would take a bit of the edge off, because you then know that physical confrontation is an option where in other instances it might not be.
Yeah, like it's a different league, but I still really liked it. I can't even spoil you about the ending because it depends on how you play the game. Depends on which ending you get. So you have replay value again because you want to get a different ending. You want to unlock different things with the different endings. So I don't know. To me it was a great game. It was my first horror game that I got to own that my parents didn't know I was buying me to play horror game at the time. What you gonna do about it? I had fun. That was a great one. And from there, I think I've played almost every single game in the series. Some of which are really more difficult to stream because of the music DMCA. Akira Yamaoka does the music for it. It's beautiful, really beautiful guitar solos. Beautiful
Yamaoka
music.
does some really great stuff.
It's amazing, but sadly, a lot of it is copyrighted, so you gotta hit that mute button really fast. And some of them are on consoles that are very, very hard to rig up to a PC now to just play off of, like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 is not the easiest.
Yeah, that's one of the really interesting things of, the rise of streaming, and the fact of, all right, there are all these old games that not everything has been ported or preserved, and that, some folks have done what are essentially ROM hacks or recreations or rips and ports of their own, but, not all games have that, and that some just aren't really accessible and streamable, and some companies or people have been able to make different rigs and attachments to make it so you can then hook up, a PS2 and make it so it's streamable, but that's not a particularly accessible method. And I think it's going to be interesting to see, one, if companies start to invest more in the porting of these older games, knowing that there is an interest in it, or just, is it going to be sort of a third-party market type of thing of, is someone going to start manufacturing and selling, as a business model, these adapters, I suppose, of, that you can plug into older consoles and have them then hook up to your computer or Stream Deck or what have you.
Yeah, I think it would be really, really helpful to have more adapters, more accessibility for these older games, because it's also the feeling of playing something with a PlayStation 1 controller, of playing something with a, I don't know, like an old GameCube controller. Like, I miss those a lot.
Yeah, that's generally my guess of how it will happen, because I don't think it is practical for a company to go back and just make a port of every single game that's ever been released. And that, it's probably just not worth the money for them, frankly, because, certain games are going to be more popular than others. And while there might be a handful of people who want to play any individual game that they're probably not going to invest as much would be required to just take these full libraries, some of which are literally thousands of games, but it might be a bit more practical from a hardware perspective for, this a third party, or maybe even these companies themselves, maybe Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, saying, all right, we have made this adapter cable, which, you can plug into the back of an N64 or a PS1 and have that hook up. I think that's probably going to be, hopefully, what I would think the solution is to the problem that we have.
I wish there was more options for it. I still own an Atari, and I would love to play some Atari games with chat, but man.
Yeah. Cannonball in chat says, tell me about it. Cost $300 just to hook up my NES to my capture card. Yep.
Oh, wow. A millionaire's game.
Yeah, if we can get a good cable adapter that I think people would be willing to pay $50-$60 for a cable. $300 is a bit much. That's a console at that point. You can buy a Switch for that much.
That's true, but would streamers not? Like, I would. For certain things, like streaming certain games, if it was a redeem, like for a subathon or something, I think I would.
Yeah, no, some people can do $300, but it'll be interesting to see if somebody is able to develop and, manufacture at scale something at that price point. Like I said, I'm a giant business nerd, in case it isn't obvious already, that I went to school for business and marketing.
Ooh.
So that actually, it's not what I really do nowadays, but I have that background, and my brain always, just thinks in those terms because, like I said, I just sort of find it fascinating. There was one game that you could, assume that you have the tech for it. Any game, any past console that you haven't been able to stream yet, which game would you want to be able to stream?
Okay, Silent Hill Origins for the PlayStation Portable.
Oh, wow. Going back to the PSP days. Okay.
I love the PSP. I miss it so much. I bought it the year that the Vita came out. Wow, was it cheap then? And wow, is there so many good games for it? But those little discs, it's so hard to find them secondhand where they're not scratched to heck and back.
Yeah. I remember when the PSP was first released because it was Sony's answer to the DS. And that folks were saying that it was going to be the death of the DS because in terms of raw hardware power, the PSP was way better. It was just a superior machine in terms of computing ability. And it was actually very impressive, the quality you could get on a handheld with that at that point, that it was definitely the best on the market in that respect. But the game library it had and just the distribution, that was Sony's first foray into mobile gaming. That meanwhile, Nintendo had been at this for literal decades at this point because they had gone through the original Game Boy, the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance, and then into the DS. So they already had a lot of these franchises, Pokemon, which at that point was mostly a handheld franchise, and that Sony, for whatever reason, they had some games on the PSP, but I think that a good portion of what caused it to struggle was just that they didn't have a lot of developers who were going to be developing for mobile for whatever, restrictions I don't know that they might have had for PSP development, but the PSP, for all the hype that it had surrounding it, did not actually do very well.
Oh, that's sad. I know you could also, you get these little UMD discs for watching movies and stuff on them.
Yeah.
And I swear, I remember seeing people everywhere, in school, like during a break, like watching like movies and stuff. That was so cute. Bring that back.
Yeah, no, because
Can we have that again? I don't want phones anymore. Bring back the PSP.
Yeah, because if memory serves, that you were able to actually, you know, like sort of backdoor unlock the PSP and make it so you could just sort of import these files, and that's how they did release some discs with movies, but others would just sort of hack it and then be able to import the video files and be able to watch it. And that you're right, a lot of folks would be able to watch it, and it was, you know, at that point in time, some of the best quality that you'd be able to get on something that wasn't a TV or a laptop. Oh no, Lulu, we're kind of old remembering all these. I'm realizing that you just like...
we're so crunchy and old. The PSP isn't that old. When did the PSP come out? Like early 2000s? Like not that
It was early
old.
2000s, yeah.
It's not that old.
Yeah.
It's not the original Game Boy, not the color, the original Game Boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. But I, you know, so I remember just, I had a DS, and the Game Boy Color was the first gaming device I ever owned. So it wasn't the original Game Boy, but Game Boy Color was still, it was a year or two old at that point, so new-ish. But yeah, that was really where my gaming journey started.
It's so cute. Thinking about all of the like nice handheld consoles, and now it's just like you don't really have a lot of option. It's like the Switch.
Yeah, the Switch has sort of...
Switch made by Valve, and that's about it.
Yeah, the Nintendo essentially merged their console and their handheld line with the Switch, and I guess from a business perspective, that's a pretty smart move of saying, all right, let's just have a single console that you can use as both and have it. But, you know, I still have my 3DS that whenever I go on a plane, I usually end up...
3DS.
Yeah, the 3DS and the DS, I think, were just some of the most solid consoles out there. And that, you know, if I'm ever on a plane or anything, that's when I'll usually bring out the 3DS. Do you remember what your first console was? Or, you know, first gaming device?
That was the Atari. I feel even older now. My dad handed me down his Atari. I think that was the first one I ever played on. I remember, but I already had money when I bought my first Game Boy.
Gotcha,
I don't remember.
No, neither of my parents were gamers, so I was lucky enough to get that first Game Boy Color as a birthday present one year.
Oh, that's so cute. Adorable.
Hopping back to horror for a minute, that horror in general is something that appeals to you, not just games, but for films as well.
Oh yes, oh yes. I actually got to a new one. I watched something since we last talked about.
Oh, what'd you watch?
I watched a movie called, the English title is Incantation. It's a
I do not know about it.
Horror movie. It's so terrifying, but it has a happy ending, so I can recommend it to you safely without...
Yay!
Yay!
Happy endings.
Happy endings, sort of happy ending. As happy as you can get it in a horror movie.
Yeah, there's probably a good number of people who are not alive at the end that were alive at the beginning, but at least not everyone died, at least.
No, but it's like a found footage horror.
Ooh, okay.
So it's mostly all filmed from like a handheld camcorder, and it's different segments. It's 3 different storylines happening at the same cut, intersecting each other.
Oh, okay.
But they're all set at different times, and you have to like pick them apart and see which part happened.
Oh, I love stuff like that. I
so
love
good.
non-linear storytelling in general. So are these 3 storylines all recorded with the same camcorder, and it's that, you know, different
it's the
people
same
pick it up
camcorder
at different times? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's really good. It's on Netflix at the moment if you want to check it out. It's completely free. It's so great. Top notch. I haven't seen a good horror movie like that in a while. That really got me.
What do you usually look for in a horror movie? That I asked for, you know, games, and you said that you like having sort of the human element, but you also like monsters as well. Is there anything different that you look for in a horror film versus a game?
Slightly. I like supernatural horrors more, where it's like possession stories or like corruption stories or things like that. I'm not so much into just slasher movies. Like, they're fun, I guess, but you know what's gonna happen. You're gonna see some blood. You're gonna see some organs. Yay! Done a million times. I like possession stories more because you never know where they go, or sometimes it's really famous stories. Like I'm a big fan of the Conjuring series. Have you ever heard of the Conjuring series?
Yes, I'm familiar with the Conjuring series in concept. Have not seen any of
Aw.
them, but you know, I see ads for them every so often, and you know, I hear about them, so definitely know that series.
So the Conjuring series and the Annabelle and like the Nun, all of these are the same universe. And they are based on real stories by Ed and Lorraine Warren. Both of them have passed away now, but they also have a book series, and you can get audiobooks on like Audible and stuff like that for them. And that was my first exposure to it. Like I was reading the books and then listening to the audiobooks later on. Because I worked night shifts. I needed something scary to keep me awake all night.
There you go. Gotcha. That makes sense.
It's wonderful to see all of these, like most of them by now adapted into like big Hollywood productions. It's really wonderful because it's also interrupted by like their love story because they really love each other. They have a daughter together. They have a museum for like occult artifacts together that you can actually visit now. Like it was taken over by their IRL daughter that they had together.
Oh, that's
You can still visit it. You can still see the Annabelle, which creeps me out, by the way. I would never want to go and see the Annabelle though. No, thank you. No, thank you. Keep it far away. I don't want to think about it. Goodbye. That one scares me so much. But it's a really cool universe to come out of real life stories, whether you believe them or not.
Yeah, and I guess so. From what I gather, I guess what you find more compelling in horror films is suspense and mystery, not so much jump scares.
In games, I like jump scares. In movies,
Yeah,
it's alright if they're there, but I don't care that much about it. In games, it's more of a like, I can keep playing this because jump scares, they make me jump, they make me physically like scared in that moment, and then haha, that was funny, let's continue.
Yeah,
So
jump
like
scares
Spooky's
make for
jump
good
scare moments in
content.
FNAF are like so funny to like watch VODs back, and you get amazing clips from it, and it's just a very fun experience to just get spooked a little bit.
Yeah. And that, for me, as someone who doesn't enjoy horror, but like I said, I enjoy a good mystery, that I will frequently see horror trailers, like, you know, if I go to the movies and that, you know, a horror film is being advertised before the movie I'm seeing starts, that I'll sort of see and be like, okay, that's an interesting concept. I have no intention whatsoever of seeing that film. I'm not going to go to the movie and watch it. And anyone else can enjoy it, and I hope it's a good movie. But then what I'll do is I'll look up the synopsis on Wikipedia because I'm curious. All right, you know, what's the mystery? What's the story here? So every so often, you know, that for just things of that sort, that I'll look it up out of curiosity to know, oh, so that's how it ends. That's why there was possession of, you know, was the possession real? Was there actually something going on? Or is there some, you know, Scooby-Doo type of mystery that there's a very human explanation behind it, that I enjoy finding that out, and then just sort of saying, yes, I'm glad I didn't go to the movie, but I'm glad that I know how it ends. That's neat. And that's how I consume horror.
At least you know you don't have to sit through all of the jump scares and all of the spooks, and you can sleep. You can sleep that night. You don't have to stay awake.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's how I consume horror. But I know that that it's obviously a very successful, beloved genre, and that, you know, a lot of people like it. And I'm glad that this stuff exists for those that enjoy it. It's just one of those that, for me, that, you know, you all enjoy it. Thumbs up, great. I'll be over here with the lights on. Thank you very much.
That's okay. I'm also the only person in my friend circles that enjoys horror, so it's a very lonely experience when a new movie comes out and I have to go alone, like sit in the cinema all by myself, going, "Oh man."
Well, I guess that probably makes it even scarier, because then, you know, it's the just sort of isolated type of watching there.
Yeah. And it's dark and spooky, and something touched your leg. Oh no.
But then there's this whole subgenre of either comedy horror or deconstructionist horror, that there's the Scary Movie franchise, which you know, has a long and storied history. That the first one is regarded as, you know, a classic, and then by the time you get to 4, 5, 6, I don't know how many they've made. It's a lot, but it became you know, even more satirical over time. But you mentioned that you really like Scary Movie 1 in particular.
I like Scary Movie 1, and I don't remember the number of it. I think it's 4 or 5 with Charlie Sheen. He's in it for like a little bit. That's it. But it's such a funny premise. I know it's like I've watched a compilation the other day of like, oh, horror and comedy movies. I really hate it. Like these are the worst things. And like, why would you hate on this masterpiece? Why would you hate on this masterpiece? It's beautiful. Shut the up. Anyway, sometimes you want stupid like excuse my language. PG kids and from my chat, listen away. Mommy Lou's gonna say something bad. Boner. Humor is funny. It will never not be funny.
And just, sometimes you want that, you're not looking for a well-prepared meal. You're not looking for, steak or something fancy. Sometimes you just want potato chips.
Sometimes you just want junk food.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want junk food. Sometimes you just want funny haha humor. Like, I love Wayne's World so much. Listen, I could watch Wayne's World.
Now that's a classic.
Yeah, Bill and Ted, Jay and Silent Bob movie. Listen, like these are wonderful. Sometimes you just want junk food.
Yes.
Sometimes your brain just wants junk food and happy. And stupid jokes.
Simon in the chat asks, will we be able to see this in a podcast? That I don't do this as a podcast, but I do release it on YouTube, so you will be able to see it there.
Oh, you might want to have to me saying earlier.
Oh, yep. Gonna take care of it all in post. All in post.
Okay. Leave that little timestamp there so you don't get demonetized or banned from YouTube because I said redacted. Oh,
yeah,
no.
No, they just use a YouTube command in the chat, and I don't have a YouTube command. I should make a YouTube command.
You should make a YouTube command.
Thanks for the idea, Simon. I'm hoping that's how to pronounce it. SZYMEN. But yeah, I'm gonna get on that actually. So thank you for the idea. I'm actually making a actual note for myself of YouTube command.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever actually seen Scary Movie 1. I've seen Scary Movies 3 and 4, but it's been a long time since I've seen them. I think I saw the 4th one in theaters and the 3rd one at a friend's house. And, obviously those are parodies that they're very much just riffing on the other horror films of the past couple of years. And that sort of became its own genre that there was, I think, there was like Date Movie and I forget, but they spun
movie.
Yeah, they spun it into a whole like franchise of just these parody compilations. And to be fair, it's a cool concept. Sometimes done better than others, but I respect the effort.
Yeah, this is so funny. What happened? Can we have those back, please? Can we make more? Where's the Lulu parody movie, please? I'm begging. I would love that.
VTuber movie.
VTuber movie! Ah! That would be horrible. In a good way.
I'm just imagining that now. Gosh, there's so many ways you could take that, because you could do it as, just a comedy of errors of, VTubers trying to succeed with things. You can make it a drama. There could absolutely be drama. Or you could just make it a documentary series. I actually know there's a couple folks doing actual VTuber documentaries right now that we'll have hopefully within the next couple of years. But yeah, the idea of just a comedy, I can see that happening. I can see that.
That could be funny.
Yeah, and even though I don't
would you cast actual VTubers in it, or would you have to make caricature, like parodies of said VTubers?
Well, here's the question. Is this what I would do, or is it what I think would happen if Hollywood did it?
Oh, if Hollywood did it, they would have to make caricatures, but then it would be focused on company VTubers, I think.
Cannonball mentions
they have more way
Belle.
to capitalize on it.
I have not seen Belle. I really enjoy Mamoru Hosoda as a director. I still need to see it. That's one of the only films of his I haven't seen yet, but I've heard that the main character is effectively a VTuber, so I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I want to watch that so badly. I've talked about this on stream before. It's really hard to find where I live, but hopefully I will see it in the future.
So even though I don't enjoy watching normal horror, I like comedy horror. I also enjoy some deconstruction horror. That Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, I love Cabin in the Woods.
That one I saw in theaters. That one I really enjoyed because it's this weird combination of, it's not comedic in the way that Scary Movie is, but it's certainly that it's taking those tropes and very deliberately deconstructing them. That I don't consider this spoilers because it's revealed in the first 5 minutes of the film. But the whole concept, for those who haven't seen it, is that Cabin in the Woods is about 5 I think it's 5, but group of teenagers goes to a cabin in the woods, and unbeknownst to them, they're being watched by this surveillance team. And I won't go much into that because then you get into spoilers, but essentially they are being set up to be in a scary movie situation where this whole team has prepared these ancient relics for them that, it's almost a game to them of which relic will be picked. And there's an office betting pool of who's going to be the one to pick it and all these different circumstances. And that, like I said, this is revealed in the first 5 minutes. It is very upfront about that fact. And then seeing sort of, as a viewer, watching the teenagers being watched by the surveillance team. And it's such a cool story and method of storytelling that even if you don't like horror movies, I think that most people can enjoy Cabin in the Woods. Yeah, that was just a really cool one for sure.
Yeah, that one was really fun.
I'm trying to remember. So you also mentioned The Conjuring, and I know that's it's one of Japanese origin, if memory serves, right?
Oh, no. Conjuring is an American series. Like it's all,
American
most
one.
of them are set in America. Some of the
Gotcha.
books take you to, and one of the movies take you to the UK. The second movie is set in London. Is absolutely that one's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
What makes that one so
sorry.
scary?
The way that they shoot it, like sometimes you can see like you don't expect it, and there's no scary music in the background for it. But you will see the ghost like walk behind, like a blurry like bokeh shot from the camera, and it's not planned for you to see it at this point unless you literally look for it over the entire frame. That is so terrifying.
Oh, I enjoy that type of. It's almost an Easter egg, like rewatching stuff of just know it if it's there, or if you happen to be looking at the right place at the right time, that you get that genuine jump scare. That's really cool cinematography and just shot planning. I like that.
Really scary. There's I think it's the third one that came out fairly recently. The title is The Devil Made Me Do It. It's based on a case
Heard of that one.
There's a young man kills one of his coworkers, and the court case of them wanting to argue that he was possessed at the time and finding enough evidence to present a case that he didn't do it, that he was actually possessed when he committed the crime. There's a whole lot of other things happening at the same time, but that's the main plotline of it. It's really interesting because you don't think about these things as much, but it's based on a true story.
Yeah. I've seen. That was one of the trailers that I saw. I don't think I ever got around to reading the synopsis, but I do distinctly recall that one and seeing the ads for it.
That one's wonderful. I love that one. It's scary, but it's really good. It's really well done.
Are there any
If you can watch one Conjuring movie, watch that one.
Are there any upcoming horror movies that you're really looking forward to, or any that you have read or seen as not films that you hope get adapted into films, even games?
I'm out of the loop. I normally I used to watch these compilations on YouTube of top movies of the season, and they just show you a bunch of trailers, but I haven't had time to watch a single one of those lately. So I have to get surprised by what gets advertised to me at the time. But I normally just go on deep dives, like how I found Incantation. I went on a Netflix deep dive. I was like, supernatural horror, give me something. And it just, here is something good. Let's go.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to just, sometimes you get in the mood for a certain type of story, and whether it be, I want to see a mystery or I want to see an action, then just sort of finding these hidden gems or ones that you aren't even necessarily looking for, and that can become some of your favorites. Hopping back for a moment, what was the name of that one again? The found footage one?
Oh, Incantation.
Incantation. Okay, yeah. That reminded me of an anime series. I know you don't watch as much anime, but there's one I really enjoy called Bakano, which it's not a horror one per se. That it's more, I suppose, a thriller. the thriller mystery sort of, and it's also done in non-chronological order with a lot of different perspectives, and like that's one of the hardest things to do from a narrative perspective, of just being able to, you know, have all these different parts, make it so, you know, probably the first half is almost illogical that you're struggling to keep up, but then it's such a satisfying feeling near the end as you see all these threads finally coming together and realizing, oh, this is what's going on. That I really, when you mentioned that one, that even if I haven't seen that film, I am familiar with that type of storytelling, and it's a rare type of storytelling, but it's so satisfying if done well.
I haven't watched anime in so long. It feels like such a foreign concept. I started watching My Dress Up Darling, the English one, recently. That was really cute. I know the majority of my chat was like, "Oh, don't watch this garbage. Oh, it's just fan service little stuff." And you know what? It's funny. It's okay. Let it be
like we were saying, sometimes you just want junk food.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to watch something like happy and you know, something chill, something booba and booba.
And booba.
That's okay. I really liked it so far. I haven't finished it yet in the last couple episodes, but I hope I get time to finish it at some point.
Yeah, hope you enjoy it. One other area that I know doesn't actually come up a ton on stream, but you mentioned you've been getting into it, is gardening, actually.
Yes! Oh, this is grandma nerd time. Buckle up, chat. I have for the very first time since we moved in here as a group of friends, I have a garden. I'm terrible at it. This was the first time last week that we got our lawn cut because I don't know how to, so we had to hire someone because it was so overgrown that it was up to my shoulders.
Oh no!
It is what it is. Now I have a lawn that is full of lawn clippings. I haven't decided what to do with them, but I have a couple of planters, and I grew my first vegetables this year. The majority of which has been eaten by bugs.
Respectfully, feeding the local wildlife. There you go.
Yeah. Let's call it that. But I have managed to rescue and like harvest some lettuce. Riveting. Some onions and some carrots that I've grown in a bin that used to be a water bucket, like a rainwater collection thing. Yeah, reduce, reuse, recycle, or something. That was an experiment, and I'm glad it went well because I have never done that before. They tasted okay. I was very, very scared that the first time I make something, I'm gonna give myself food poisoning and I will pass on into the afterlife. But I actually managed to make decent vegetables. I also have a couple of like indoor plants because before I had a garden, I collected indoor plants. There's about 100 of them across the house. There's not enough room for them. Oh my goodness,
that's a lot.
There's so many of them. But I also have been able to grow my own citrus fruit. I have is it called mandarin tree? The little clementine mandarin things. They're tasty. They're really tasty. I managed to grow them from scratch, like as the tree, the first harvest on this tree. And lemons for the first time. I got lemons this year. That was cool. Scary because I had no idea what to do. I don't know what to do with them. I don't like sour fruit, but I got lemons in my fridge now. My own lemons. And a couple of like just decorative plants. I have a Japanese laurel I really like. It's like it looks like a thick ivy leaf, like almost a succulent like level thick ivy leaf. And I have a couple of monsteras that are taking over this room. One of them has grown all the way around the window.
Oh my.
It sees more sun than me. And there are a couple that I still want to get, but are very, very difficult to grow or to get where I live. I don't have a rubber tree. I have one on my wish list that's been sitting there for a while. And I have seeds for birds of paradise, and I might give it a try this weekend because I know that when you first sow them into like a pot, it has to be around 40 degrees Celsius.
Well, you're gonna have that this week.
I have that, so I could finally start it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know it's definitely over warm. It's warm in your neck of the woods. It's pretty warm for me as well. That I live in Texas, actually.
Oh, yeehaw.
Yeehaw, yes. I didn't grow up in Texas, but I've lived here for almost 8 years now.
Wow.
And well, the secret to living in Texas in the summer is just don't go outside. That's the secret. That you know, we have air conditioning here. Air conditioning is very good, but I know that where you are, that air conditioning is not as common because
it doesn't
you have not all had to deal with particularly hot summers as much until recently. And that's, actually kind of a big concern right now that, folks, I've seen a lot of, Twitter threads saying, be patient with anyone who's in England and Europe right now, that it's going to be very, very hot, and that not all places have air conditioning like you would usually have in most places in the US or in Canada. And, well, I guess, it's good to hear that the plants are going to enjoy it.
Oh, the plants are gonna love it. I don't know how I'm gonna cope with this. I don't have a lot of tiled flooring to sit on. I don't know what to do. I lived in Asia for a while, so I am used to summers, but there was always air conditioning. There's no air conditioning this time. And the fans that I have are just like a joke of dry air.
Yeah, definitely be sure to stay hydrated, do what you can. But for the gardening, I'm curious, how did that all start? Where did the interest begin?
I wanted to save money. It was at the beginning of the pandemic, the scary times, where vegetables were sold out everywhere, and I was like, you know what's easier? You could just go and buy a couple of seeds, and then I never planted those seeds.
Oh, wait, so I was going to say, all right, it makes sense to do that at the beginning of all that, because, all right, if you're just going to be inside for a while, lockdowns and everything, that, you'll have the time to grow your own vegetables, but you didn't actually end up planting the seeds. So
no, I made a couple of herbs and spices that are now dried and stored away, perfectly preserved. They all turn out great. I made like thyme and basil and stuff, and I dried it and I ground it and I put it all away in like giant bags, so I don't ever have to buy spices again. But anything apart from like small things I grew indoors didn't make it. I barely planted anything, and I just got lazy and distracted by baking bread, which went horribly.
Oh, yeah, well, that was the other thing.
I had a flower fire. I had a flower fire in my kitchen.
A flower fire? I don't know if I've ever heard of the flower fire before. I've heard of oil fires. I've heard of grease fires. How does a flower fire happen?
It's very common in bakeries, and you actually have to watch out. We now have a fire extinguisher, thanks to me.
Well, that's good.
Be safe.
Yes.
But it can light itself on fire, and because of the particles going everywhere with every little wind and like stuff that you make by trying to put it out, it spreads faster. So be very careful when you have open flame and flower.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it was terrifying. And the smoke alarm went off at the same time. My roomies were like, what the heck is going on? I was just like, I'm
just trying to make bread.
And then a few weeks later, I made al dente pasta. I lit pasta on fire. I'm not a good cook. When you asked me if I wanted to talk about cooking or baking, I politely declined. Here's the story why. I lit pasta on fire, and the fire department came out, and my roommates were like, you are no longer allowed to turn on the oven.
That does have to be something that's a bit awkward to explain. Of what happened here? Well, you see, Mr. Firefighter, sir, I was making pasta. Doesn't pasta usually use water? Doesn't it usually use water?
But it hangs over the pot. If you make spaghetti, they're over the pot. And if you have a gas stove, there's fire underneath it. And then fire department.
Yep.
It's okay, nothing's broken. We're still renting. We're still getting our deposit back, but I'm not allowed to cook on the oven anymore.
Yep. So,
sad.
You mentioned that you got the seeds, at the start of everything, but you didn't plant them at first. When did you finally plant them? And was it just, that you remembered you had it? Or was there something that motivated you to finally really start gardening in earnest?
No, I think I was just cleaning things out for the first time in a year, because I hate cleaning too. Sucks. I live in chaos. It's okay. I was cleaning out the first year of it. I think it was last year around this time, and I started the first seeds then. Most of my creations did not make it because I got too neglective. I got so distracted by streaming. I made a gardening stream at the beginning, and I showed off some of the plants that I had already growing, and everyone was like, "Oh wow, that looks amazing! Can't wait for you to eat them. Like, show them later when they're fully grown." And I never did. Some point in like September, October, when I was starting to do horror game streams, like for every week, like another horror game, I went outside and I was like, "Oh yeah, that was something, right?" So I forgot about most of it.
But you have actually had your first harvest now. That even if it took a little while, that you then had your next round, and that you've planted them and seen it, through that full process. That was it something that I asked these questions that I have not done any gardening on my own, so I don't know anything. Did you like watch a lot of videos on it, or were these just simpler vegetables to grow to begin with, so it wasn't as intensive?
It says it on the packaging. I didn't watch a tutorial.
That helps. Well, hey, no, that's good that they have the instructions
they
on the
come
packaging.
with the instructions, yeah.
That's simple. Good.
Yeah, and some of them were really simple. Like I bought a bunch of I bought a cranberry bush and I bought a lingonberry bush. They're very similar. One of them's from Sweden, the other one's not. They're doing fine. They need nothing. You just leave them outside in a little pot, and they give you fruit. They give the birds fruit, and sometimes you.
Yep.
That's it.
Lulu, feeding the local wildlife.
Yeah. I learned to like cover them in the springtime this year because birds love picking at seeds. They love eating your seeds that you spend your good money on.
Yep. No, that
you need to cover them up. I didn't realize that was a big issue because I live in a city, so I was like, oh, okay. All right, I guess.
That my mother does some gardening, and I grew up in a suburban area, so not a city, but also not super rural. Certainly not a farm area. But she's done some basic stuff. But the big concern for her is not so much birds, but it's deer. And that deer will come by and just, eat most of anything. So she's had to do various solutions to make it so that the deer don't just turn her garden into a buffet.
I had no idea that could be an issue. Oh wow! They just eat vegetables.
They eat a lot of things. That they eat vegetables. They eat just leaves and everything. So
they just show up and they're like, that's my salad now.
Basically.
Oh no! That's horrible. I also had some issues with things digging in it, whether it being foxes or cats from the neighborhood. So the cover was a good idea, but it gets annoying sometimes when you have to pick stuff out or check if they're okay, if they have been eaten by bugs yet or not. Having to lift a bunch of netting and stuff, getting caught in the netting.
Yeah. And then you mentioned that you said almost 100 other plants around. So how does that start? Because the gardening and making vegetables is one whole thing. How do all these other plants come into the picture? Were these plants around before or after the vegetables?
Way before the vegetables. When I first moved out on my own, I bought a cactus. It's a cute little cactus.
Yeah, it always starts with one. It starts somewhere.
It always starts with one, and then boom, I had an entire room full of cacti at my first place that I had alone. I lived in an attic apartment for a while, and it was very warm and humid, and cacti, I love that stuff. You don't have to water them, so if you forget about them or you go away for a little bit to visit friends, it's okay. They just survive.
Yeah, that's what makes them such good starter plants.
They will survive me. They will survive me. There's still a cacti room with all of said cacti. It's been some decades. It's been some time since they first. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. And then you go to what's the American version? A Home Depot.
Yep. That's what we have in the US.
They have plants. Or you go to IKEA. Oh, they have plants. One can't hurt.
And it's just, that they aren't particularly expensive. It might be,
No.
for US dollars, it might be $5, $10, $15 if it's really expensive. But it's not an investment. It's the type of thing that you can just make as an impulse purchase.
Yeah. It's not that bad. And they're good for you, right? They clean the air. They're great for you. And then they multiply.
Yep.
And they do multiply. Some of them have their own little offsprings, and you can put them in water, and they grow roots, and you have another one.
Yep, I've heard
of
that happening.
Pot. And then you need to repot them. And then you have empty pots, and you're like, oh, that's such a waste. Ceramic
might
pots
as well
can
put
sometimes
something
cost
in them.
Yeah, they cost $10. You need to put something in there, and then boom, now you have 100 of them.
Yep.
What you gonna do about it?
I've seen folks who do that, and then just sort of, that if they live in an apartment, that they'll go to the front desk of the apartment and say, can you just keep these here and say that if anyone wants them, they can take them? Or I've seen that there was once in the neighborhood where I grew up that someone had put just a small table out at the bottom of their driveway, and it said, free plants,
one,
please take one. Yes, just that it was very clear that they had either bought too many or that they had repotted too many and were literally giving them away.
It's very hard for me to part with them because they give them all names, and then it's you can't just get rid of Greg. Greg is part of the family.
Yeah, we've been through so much together.
Yeah, Greg's been there for a decade watching me whine in my living room. You gotta get him a good place. And the bad part is, this house has so many dark rooms and spots that some rooms can't have plants. So the rooms that have plants turned into a jungle.
Yeah.
And I also have cats. So you constantly need to watch cats that they don't knock anything over or eat them.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
no,
that's
it's
a whole different
amazing.
thing of just, obviously cats being famous for knocking things over regardless of what it is, but it's so much more difficult when, it's a pot and then you have to clean up the pieces of the pot and all the dirt and
Yay. But I live in this jungle. Heck, I made it. It's okay. At least my ear is nice and clean, I think.
yes, sheepy jungle.
Sheepy jungle.
Come to think of it, where did
Some
the
of it is edible.
where did the concept of sheepium come from? That was it just a riff on, copium or
Oh, I never
like,
thought
where
about
did that
copium before.
because where did sheepium come from? That I'm
Oh,
guessing that's another one of those jokes, sort of like the worms, that
like the
it has
worms.
to begin
Yeah.
somewhere. Do you remember where it started?
Roughly, I was joking about dropping out of high school, and I was talking about how I failed chemistry every year consistently in a row. And I don't know how many elements are on this table, like 666 or something, probably.
It's a lot.
So I came up with the idea, like sheepium, like opium. I don't know if opium's an element or it's a compound. I don't know. I don't know high school.
Right.
I didn't pass chemistry. I never passed chemistry. I never passed geography. And you know what? I'm great at geoguessr. I'm amazing at geoguessr, and I never passed geography.
But that's actually really
So,
interesting. So sheepium predates you being a VTuber.
no.
No?
Sheepium came up as the joke of I dropped out of high school.
Oh, okay.
On Steam. So I'm sorry.
Oh,
There was no
okay. No,
sheepium pre.
okay, gotcha.
pre-viewing.
All right. I thought you were saying that, when you were in high school that that it had happened then, but that makes sense. So
Yeah. Oh no,
that it was
sadly, there's no
while
fun stories from
remembering
high school.
that it was remembering high
Yeah.
school that the idea
Yeah.
of sheepium came up, but then similar to the worms, it just you have these one-off jokes, and that now
Yeah.
sheepium is very much part of your brand, that even more so than the worms, that it's tune in for the sheepium delivery, that it's part
Yeah.
of your Twitter bio, it's part of your Twitch bio at this point.
And it's getting even bigger. We're making a sheepium podcast.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing a tweet about that recently. I'd forgotten that was the name of the podcast, though.
Yeah. I thought, you know what? If I have a word, I might as well capitalize on
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Good old
That
capitalism.
it's your thing. That's the the whole concept of branding. Find something that is iconic, that makes people think of you, and that sheepium is your thing.
Sheepium worm. I see a
Sheepium
worm in
worm,
chat.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. BETT23. Thank you for the worms.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we've almost been at this for 2.5 hours already.
Wow.
That time flies, and I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you've already had a long day. You started streaming at what I think was, it was a noon or 1 p.m. EST. So you'd already been going for 4 or 5 hours before we started. So I just have a couple last questions as we start to wind down. First off, do you have any goals for the rest of the year that were a little ways past the halfway point of 2022? Do you have any goals, whether it be, like numbers based or just project based? That obviously you just released your first song. Do you have a goal of, either another song or hit this many followers? That do you have any sorts of goals?
I don't like setting numbers goals because they're so far out of my control. I don't want to beat myself up over them. I'm still very proud of 16K, but I don't know if I can set myself a realistic goal of like, oh yeah, 1 million by the end of the year or something like that. I want to release one more original song. I want to get started with the podcast. And in April, we fundraised for a new 3D model. And I'm finally getting all of my parts together for full body tracking, so I can finally watch me sit down all day in full body tracking in 3D. So
Yeah,
I'm very
you did
excited about the
mention the
new
3D
3D
earlier.
model.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yes, definitely looking forward to that. And obviously, you have your upcoming model debut. I don't think you've announced a date for that yet. That it's just coming soon for now.
It says coming soon. I keep talking about it. I don't have a trailer yet, sadly, because I don't
Mm.
have enough model footage yet to make a trailer, so I have to wait another week with the trailer. But it's the 7th of August. Very, very hopefully. I'm very scared to put a date to it because last few times I put a date to something, it was like,
Something goes wrong.
US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, folks, you'll just have to follow Lulu on Twitter to find out and to hear about the announcement when it happens.
Yay. Thank you for the link.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then the last big question is one I ask all my guests. What does being a VTuber mean to you? And that's not what does it mean to be a VTuber, but being a VTuber means something different to everyone in the sense that I've had some guests say that, it's just a tool in my toolbox, that it's sort of a clinical answer, that it's a mask that I wear. It is a tool I use for content creation. Other people have a very personal connection to VTubing. I've had people say it lets me get in touch with my inner child, or it lets me be someone that I can't be in real life. And obviously, those answers and everything between and beyond is totally valid. But I am always curious to find what it means for each individual and for my guests. So the question, Lulu, is what does being a VTuber mean to you?
I would say it's everything I live and breathe at the moment. Like, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I check my notifications. Is there something funny? Did someone leave a funny comment? How many hours? Where's my countdown at for stream? Because I'm so excited. I have all of my friends, all of chat, all like my little lamb chubs, my little friends, because I don't have a lot of social interaction in real life. I'm really shy. I don't really go outside a lot. I have like 2-3 friends that I conveniently live with. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk to a lot of people. So it's a whole, I would say, like a window to having friends and a social life and having a life experience in general, because I'm so shy and because I'm so, let's call it agoraphobic, that I don't go outside at all outside of it. It's like a window to the world that I wouldn't have had otherwise, but it's also conveniently a full-time job, so I don't actually have to leave anymore.
Well, that's super cool. And just, I asked that question because, one, like I said, everyone has a different answer, and that while I never know how somebody will answer, everyone's answer always makes sense for them. Of just, for the couple of hours that we talked, for the streams I've seen of yours, that, it fits for what I know of you, that, the using it as a social tool, a social circle, and that, in other words, like, it's almost literally a way of life at this point for you, that it is your job, it's something that you think about when you wake up, and that very fortunately you have created a very healthy relationship between, you and like your numbers and metrics and the way that you approach content creation, and that you were able to have it be such a big part of your life right now, and that it has been such a obviously positive force for you, and that obviously celebrating 16,000 followers, celebrating your very first original song with more to come, one new model for sure locked in, and hopefully a second one by the end of the year, that there's so much to look forward to. And for anyone who's watching, that if for some reason you are not already following Lulu on Twitch and Twitter, do yourself a favor and follow her.
Sheepium.
Yeah, get that sheepium. That the links are here in the Twitch chat. If you're watching on YouTube, well, first off, thanks for making it this far into the video. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, like, comment, subscribe. But also, all of Lulu's links are going to be in the video description as well. So even if you're not watching live, you can scroll down and be able to follow her that way. Because, like I said, there's a lot to look forward to, and even in the very immediate future. So, Lulu, I cannot thank you enough for, taking the time to be on the show today. Like I said, already after a very full day, that I was a little bit worried, honestly. It was like, oh gosh, you've been getting over the funky virus, and to already have such a long celebration stream and then hop onto this, well, I hope that it's gone as fast for you as it has for me, because it, like, it's been 2.5 hours, and time flies when you're having fun, because it did not feel like 2.5 hours to me.
No, it did not to me either. It's really okay. I normally go to bed at like 5 a.m. anyway, so don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
I guess that is the type of thing I've also heard a lot of is sleep schedules are relative. That everyone sort of finds time to sleep eventually, maybe, sort of. But again, cannot thank you enough. And also thanks to folks in chat that
Yeah.
as we prepare to wind down, is there anyone you would like me to raid, Lulu? That I always like to have the guests pick the
Oh.
raid. So
Oh,
uh,
that's so sweet.
choose
Okay,
someone
let me
that you'd
see.
like. And while she's prepping all that, again, everyone in chat, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm Jay. This is Vtuber Talk. Definitely be sure to follow Lulu. If you feel like it, you can follow me as well here. It's just twitch.tv/VTuber Talk, and same on Twitter, just twitter.com/VTuber Talk. I do these just about once a week. I have my next guest lined up. I actually think it's also going to be another Sunday show that one thing is VTuber Talk has never been designed for consistency. That I schedule around my guests. Sometimes it's a Friday show, sometimes it's Saturday, Tuesday, what have you. I think I've done at least one show on any given night of the week, but it's usually around the weekend. So, whether that be a Friday night, Saturday, or Sunday, at least by United States time, that's usually when you can count on seeing something from me. So hopefully you've all enjoyed getting to, hear a little bit more about Lulu. Thanks for folks who've been participating in the chat, spamming some wonderful emotes, giving comments along the way. It's always nice to have that little bit of extra audience input as a host. So really hope you all enjoyed.
Yay. I sent you the username. Oh, I think I want to send some love to my friend Lorian.
Lorian Locke.
Lorian.
All right, well, I'm going to start getting that queued up. RIANLOC. And I'm going to start the outro, and that way we have it for YouTube and everything, but we'll be raiding into Lorian. So again, Lulu, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone in chat. Thank you, everyone watching on YouTube. This has been another episode 70 of VTuber Talk. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening, and I will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.